Good morning. This is Rashad Mitchell coming to you live from my YouTube channel as I continue my part series, The Week That Was, College Football History and Review, the 1983 college football season. Here it is, man. This is going to be a new year to talk about. This is the last of the early part of the decade of the 80s era of college football. And I'm going to be looking at and talking about the overview of the college football season circa 1983. And also get into some milestones and go into the preseason polls, preseason number 183, and go over obviously the most important thing, the week that was week one of the 1983 college football season. So let's go. Here we go. The 1983 college football season was the year of a hurricane hitting the Orange Bowl, Georgia's senior mission, and Auburn's best ever factor. When South Florida big shots down their Orange Blazers to plan the golden anniversary of the Orange Bowl Classic, no one in their right mind would have expected the hometown Miami Hurricanes to play in, let alone win the 50th game to nab a surprise national championship in one of the greatest games ever played. Miami had been in the final year of Coach Howard Schnellenberger's trumpeted 5-year plan, but summertime expectations were modest with the departure of quarterback Jim Kelly to the professional ranks and the overall youth of the team that featured 57 freshmen and sophomores. Miami was unranked in the preseason top 20, which seemed completely justified after Florida administered a 28-3 opening game loss. Miami then went under the radar with a winning streak that readjusted its valuation. Meanwhile, mighty Nebraska occupied the nation's top spot from the preseason, and the Cornhuskers set free a powerful offense featuring a trioca of star players like quarterback Turner Gill, I-back Mike Rozier, and wingback Irvin Fryer. After crushing the defending national champions in Penn State by a score of 44-6 in the kickoff classic opener that was played within earshot of the New York City media hub, the Cornhuskers became separated in the nation's mind from every other top team. By the end of September, they had scored 56 points against Wyoming, dropped 84 points on shell-shocked Minnesota, delivered 42 points on eventual Pac-10 champion UCLA. This barrage made the Huskers the unanimous number one, the first unanimous number one in both polls since Southern California turned the trick in 1972. The Cornhuskers later poured 63 points on Syracuse, torched Colorado for 69 points, blasted Iowa State with a 72-point volley, and bled Kansas for 67. A 14-10 hiccup against Oklahoma State almost derailed Nebraska in mid-season, but once Oklahoma was stopped 28-21, the national title seemed all but assured for Tom Osborne's Cornhuskers of Nebraska. One task remained for Nebraska, defeating Miami on the Hurricanes' home field in the Orange Bowl. The Hurricanes not only had to come back from their opening loss to Florida, but also had to pass any team that could be invited to play number one Nebraska. October 29th had turned out to be the day when everything came together for Miami. It beat West Virginia 20-3 to improve to 8-1. Number 3 North Carolina lost to Maryland, and number 5 Florida was defeated by Auburn. The Orange Bowl path had cleared for Miami. Now number 5, because every team ranked in front of it will be forced to play in a bowl other than the Orange due to the prearranged conference tie-ins. Miami ran the table to clinch the Orange Bowl invitation, but it had to outlast another upstart, East Carolina, by a narrow score of 12-7. So very few outside the Hurricane football family fostered national title hopes. Even if they could beat Nebraska, the Canes needed Cotton Bowl help from Georgia, which faced an undefeated Texas squad had boasted one of the great defenses in recent memory. The Longhorns were ranked second from September 19th on, and people who clamored for a playoff system surely wanted to see Nebraska's top-rated offense play against the top-rated defense of Texas, who allowed 212 yards per game. Ironically, neither team won the bowl games they were contracted to play. For its part, the talented Georgia Bulldogs were hankering for respect. Herschel Walker, Georgia's all-time great running back, had left school early after the 1982 season to sign with the United States Football League. The pundits virtually wrote off the Bulldogs for 1983. Forever after, Coach Vince Dooley sang the praises of the pride and talent displayed by its 1983 senior class, led by quarterback John Lastinger, offensive lineman Jimmy Harper, and Guy McIntyre, tight end Clarence Kay, defensive end Freddie Gilbert, and safety Terry Hoge. If a season appeared perfect for a bracketed playoff, 1983 would have served as a template. Nebraska, Miami, Texas, Georgia surely would have qualified. Illinois, Auburn, Brigham Young, and Southern Methodist were 4 schools that deserved title shots off their regular season deeds. SMU lost only once, by 3 points to Texas in the regular season, but was snubbed by the major bowls and had to play Alabama in the Sun Bowl. The uninspired Mustangs lost 28-7 in El Paso. Auburn also suffered only one defeat despite playing the 5th toughest schedule after 1953. No major team in all those years and beyond posted so good a record as 11-1 against opponents exceeding 7,000 in collective winning percentage. The Tigers' foes were 7-0-1-6 in all games other than the Auburn matchup. By comparison, Miami's opponents had a somewhat typical winning percentage of .514. Auburn's claim to the title was based on wins over Tennessee, Florida State, Florida, Maryland, Georgia, Alabama, and Michigan, with the sole loss coming to Texas. But Auburn was afforded no crack at Nebraska and became an afterthought on the heels of a 9-7 win over Michigan in the Sugar Bowl. Illinois became the first Big Ten team to beat all 9 conference opponents in the same year, but that did little good when UCLA routed Illinois in the Rose Bowl, despite the Bruins having sneaked into Pasadena with the worst ever record of any Rose contestant. No bowl team would have been favored over Nebraska, but of all the contenders, Miami had a unique advantage well suited for an upset. The Hurricanes were playing at home, where they had been 24-2 under Howard Schnellenberger. Nebraska likely would be more overconfident against them than the others. Also, Miami had a quarterback, redshirt freshman Bernie Kosar, who threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns in the bowl. Capable of exploiting Nebraska's weakest link, its relatively slow-footed secondary. Even so, Miami won by a single point. That occurred only because Nebraska coach Tom Osborne opted for a win in his rallying team on a last-minute 2-point conversion instead of going for the tie, which almost certainly would have guaranteed the national title. It took winning national titles near the end of Osborne's career to finally put to rest his 2-point decision in the magnificent 1984 Orange Bowl. Nebraska's postseason loss was not the only dark moment for the Big Eight. Sophomore tailback Marcus Dupree quit Oklahoma in mid-season due to unhappiness with coach Barry Switzer. He also was homesick, seemed to lack the desire to become as good a player as expected. By the time he quit, he had already missed a great deal of schoolwork and likely was facing flunking grades. One class he skipped on a regular basis was a philosophy course taught partially by the school president. Dupree ran for 905 yards as a freshman and 369 yards in 1983. He ended up at Southern Mississippi with the possibility of eligibility in October 1984. But the NCAA ruled he could not play until 1985, so Dupree signed a contract with the USFL. Within a year, the upstart league inked Dupree, Rozier, and Georges Walker. Meanwhile, football legend Bear Bryant had died in January, shortly after his retirement. His passing stunned the Alabama faithful in the sports world. Successor former Alabama wide receiver and coach of the New York Giants, Ray Perkins, faced intense pressure. In March, Perkins made the task of replacing Bryant more difficult by adding the athletic directorship. While the Crimson Tide notched its also 4-2 record at SEC, it was hard to fault Perkins' performance given the check history of coaches who followed true legends. The Atlantic Coast area made news as Duke quarterback Ben Bennett grabbed the career passing yards record with 9,614, trumping Jim McMahon, formerly of Brigham Young. Also, on Tobacco Road, East Carolina made a splash with wins over North Carolina State and Missouri in close losses to Florida State, Florida, and Miami. There will be no bowl, however, awaiting the Pirates. Let's move into the milestone. Now, some of the milestones that took place in 1983 college football season. NCAA approved new requirements for incoming freshman athletes. Standards known as Proposition 48 demand that athletes post minimum high school or prep school GPA and score on either SAT or ACT tests. Standards were to go into effect in 1986. By 1988, the scale up to 2.0 for GPA and 700 SAT and 15 ACT. Georgia Tech began its first year of ACC eligibility. New Mexico State joined PCAA. Now, the Kickoff Classic was created to benefit National Football Foundation and Hall of Fame. Made its debut on August the 29th, with the game pitting defending national champion Penn State against preseason top-ranked number 1 team Nebraska. So that's it for that. Some of the milestones that took place for the 1983 college football season. So let's get into the longest win streaks entering the 1983 season. Nebraska had the longest with 10, Tulsa 9, and a tie for the 7-game winning streak between Ohio State and Penn State. The coaching change that took place for the 83 season was Alabama Ray Perkins Army, Jim Young, Steve Sloan for Duke, Sam Weiss, Indiana, Jim Kreiner, Iowa State, Kansas, Mike Gottfried, Michigan State, George Pearls, Mississippi, Billy Brewer, Joe Lee Dunn, New Mexico, Tom Reed, North Carolina State, South Carolina, Joe Morrison, Southern California, Ted Toner, Bruce Arians, Temple, Texas Christian, Jim Wacker, and Wally English for Tulane. Those are the incoming coaches that came in to be the new coaches of these schools. Let's get into the preseason AP poll. Number 20 was UCLA. Number 19, Southern Methodist. Number 18, Washington. 17, Maryland. 16, Iowa. 15, Georgia. 14, Arizona. 13, Alabama. 12, Louisiana State. 11 was North Carolina. 10, Michigan. 9, Ohio State. 7, 10, Michigan. 9, Ohio State. Southern California. 8, Florida State. 7, 6, Notre Dame. 5, Auburn. Penn State. 4, 3, Texas. 2, Oklahoma. And number 1 was Nebraska. So we're going to start with September the 5th, 1983. It was on a Monday. The season started on September 3rd, 1983. But on Monday, this game was played, beg your pardon. I apologize. August 29th. On a Monday, this game was played on August 29th, 1983, between Nebraska and Penn State. Battled two top 4 teams, where Nebraska won 44-6 on August 29th, 1983 in East Rutherford, New Jersey in the Kickoff Classic. While gaining revenge for controversial loss to Penn State in 1982, Nebraska romped in the first ever Kickoff Classic and made case as the nation's best team. Huskers unleashed Wing T and triple option offense on Young, outclassed folk to tune of 500 yards, 211 yards by quarterback Turner Gill, who had 158 yards passing, 53 yards rushing, 71 yards rushing by I-back Mike Rozier. Huskers pinned the worst defeat in 17 years on Penn State, equaling 49-11 loss margin versus UCLA in 1966. Coach Joe Paterno's first year as head man at State College. Nittany Lions were able to prevent whitewash only in the last 20 seconds on quarterback Don Lonergan's 35-yard touchdown pass. Neither Lonergan nor starting quarterback Doug Strange effectively replaced graduated Todd Blackledge, as Lions offense gained only 93 yards against rugged and fast defense of Cornhuskers, led by linebackers Mike Knox and Mark Dahm. So Nebraska won 44-6. So on Thursday, during that week, that gotta be September the 1st. Houston beat Rice 45-14 as tailback Donald Jordan ran for 138 yards. First half touchdown runs of 47-45 with 1 yard respectively, as Cougars handed Rice 13 straight losses, 3 having been delivered by Houston. Cougars scored on 4 straight possessions in first half to easily top Crosstown Owls, who managed 221 yards of offense. Rice's only first half exploit came on 65-yard interception for a touchdown returned by defensive back Donahue Walker. Houston quarterback Lionel Wilson shook off interception to lead offense that gained 464 yards, and safety Albert Pope made 32-yard interception return for a touchdown in the third quarter. Meanwhile, Florida State, the number 7 team in the country, beat East Carolina 47-46. It was a shootout. Seminoles won barn burner featuring 7 lead changes that proved both teams needed work on defense. Ball State tailback Greg Allen ran for 154 yards, 3 touchdowns. Quarterback Kelly Lowry threw winning 5-yard touchdown pass to tight end Tom Wheeler with 4:36 left. 9 different players scored, although none more spectacular than East Carolina wide receiver Henry Williams, who had a 56-yard punt return, on game's only punt, and 98-yard kickoff return for touchdowns. Pirates fell 3 shy of the points record that was scored by a losing team set by Washington in 1973 versus California. Next, Pittsburgh beat Tennessee by a score of 13-3. Quarterback John Cummings had up and down debut at helm of Pittsburgh. Pitt Panthers struggled in first half, gaining only 27 yards, but broke through the trio of second half scores, including Cummings' 56-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Dwight Collins. But with time running out, Cummings suffered broken collarbone on quarterback keeper tackled by linebacker Alvin Toles. Tennessee lost 6 season opener in 7 tries under coach Johnny Majors, who fell to 0-2 versus school he had led to 1976 national title. Volunteers kicker Ford Rodriguez nailed a 49-yard field goal, but missed efforts of 51 and 57. Longer try hit crossbar, while Panthers kicker Eric Schubert hit field goals of 47-45. Punter Tony Requia saved the Pitt in first half, while defense unit came up with interceptions of quarterback Alan Cockerell, while cornerback Melvin Dean. At Pitt, 5-yard line, linebacker Troy Benson at 10-yard line. The Volunteers fullback Sam Henderson ran for 108 yards. Next, Florida Gators beat Miami by a score of 28-3. Never again would loss by Miami receive such little national attention. Proven to be fully recovered from the July surgery for herniated disc, Florida quarterback Wayne Peace completed first 8 passes with 2 touchdowns to fullback Joe Henderson as Gators took a 13-0 halftime lead. Florida tailback Neil Anderson loped 8 yards for touchdown in third quarter, in which Florida up lead to 25-0 to end matters. Hurricanes could not overcome 7 turnovers and 4 which set up 16 points for Gators. Miami freshman quarterback Bernie Kosar threw 2 interceptions deep in Florida territory, but it would turn out that this be only game without touchdown pass in his remarkable opening campaign. Only score for Miami was Jeff Davis, the kicker, who kicked the field goal from 41 yards out at the end of the fourth quarter. Next, Georgia, number 15 team in the country, beat number 20 UCLA 19-8. Defense was back at center stage in Athens as Bulldogs moved on without incomparable running back Herschel Walker. The Georgia defense was nicked for yards but not scores, and even sealed it with 69-yard interception return for touchdowns by safety Charles Dean when Bruins threatened late. UCLA quarterback Rick Neuheisel threw for 203 yards but intercepted 4 times. Georgia offense was unexciting, managing only 169 yards rushing on 50 carries and only 59 yards passing. Leading ground game for the Bulldogs was fullback Scott Williams, who made 46 yards. Kicker Kevin Butler of Georgia and kicker John Lee of UCLA hit a pair of field goals. Next, California beat Texas A&M by a score of 19-17. California raced to a 17-0 lead, helped by A&M coach Jack Shishel's decision to go for onside kickoff to the open game, which was recovered by Bears. Cal tailback Dwight Garner soon scored on a 43-yard run. Quarterback John Mazur and led Aggies rally, throwing 2 touchdowns to tight end Rich Seiler. Cal coach Joe Kapp made his own odd move late in the fourth quarter, taking go-ahead points off board after the successful field goal temporarily put Bears up 20-17. So after Pitt's penalty for first down, Kapp had to grimace when Cal quarterback Gail Gilbert fumbled on next play, recovered by Texas A&M linebacker Mike Ashley. Next, Kapp was saved when linebacker Ron Rivera tackled running back Jimmy Hawkins in the zone for wing safety with 15 seconds left. Finally, Air Force beat Colorado State 34-13. Knowing Falcons' attack was quite different than stopping it, halfback Mike Brown rushed for 131 yards, and fullback John Kirshner added 130 yards, each scoring twice as Air Force ground up Rams with 397 yards rushing. Both backs made early splashes with Kirshner scoring on a 70-yard burst on the game's second play, and Browns racing 69 yards to end zone on team's next possession. Rams outgained 502 yards to 427 yards, had success through the air as quarterback Terry Nugent threw 7-yard touchdown pass to wide receiver Jeff Champion, and became state's career pass leader with 4,096 yards. The Falcons fumbled 4 times but recovered them all, while Rams lost 3 turnovers. So that concludes a look at the week that was college football history review, the 1983 college football season, the overview of the 1983 college football season, and all the stuff that I talk about with a few of the milestones and AP poll coaching changes, longest winning streaks, and most importantly, week 1 of the 1983 college football season. The games that were played on September 3rd, 1983, including the games that were played on August 29th between Nebraska and Penn State, and I think September 1st between Houston and Rice matchup. So that concludes that, man. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the channel. Before I end this video, portion of the of the part series. I got to go over the AP poll for September 4th, 1983. During that time, you had number 20 Penn State, 19 Washington, 18 Florida, 17 Maryland, 16 Iowa, 15 Southern Methodist, 14 Alabama, 13 Louisiana State, 12 Florida State, 11 Arizona, number 10 was Georgia, 9 Southern California, 8 North Carolina, 7 Ohio State, 6 Michigan, 5 Notre Dame, 4 Auburn, 3 Texas, 2 Oklahoma, and number 1 was Nebraska. Second clues look at college football history review, the 1983 college football season. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the channel. Do view this mag 2 tomorrow. Until then, talk to you soon.